A single field kitchen trailer, roughly the size of a camper van, feeds up to 800 soldiers, 3 hot meals a day. In the middle of a combat zone, that's not an estimate. That's the actual US Army standard. And the system behind it, the logistics, the equipment, the method, is one of the most quietly impressive things the American military has ever engineered. Most people have no idea it even exists. Here's what I want to walk you through today. The exact equipment US troops use in the field. The real numbers. Verified, documented, current. And the step-by-step method that turns a compact mobile kitchen into a machine that feeds thousands before the sun goes down. Because this isn't just about food. It's about combat readiness. And it's a bigger operation than most people have ever stopped to think about. If that surprises you as much as it surprised me, drop proud in the comments. I read every single one. Let's start with the hardware, because before you understand the method, you have to understand what these soldiers are actually working with. The backbone of the US military field feeding is a system called the Army Field Feeding System, the AFFS. It has 3 core pieces of equipment. The first is a burner kitchen, or BK. This is a compact mobile unit, the one that looks impossibly small for the job it has to do. It runs on solid fuel or liquefied petroleum gas, configured with 272,000 BTU burners, stainless steel countertops, integrated cooktops, and it can be helicopter lifted directly into remote or disaster areas if a ground access isn't an option. One burner kitchen, properly crewed, feeds 300 personnel, 3 hot meals a day. Now scale that up. The second piece is a containerized kitchen, the CK. Think of it like a shipping container that opens up into a fully operational kitchen. Modular, stackable, rapidly deployable. One CK unit paired with support equipment can support 800 soldiers, battalion level, with up to 3 hot meals per day. That is the primary kitchen used inside brigade combat teams right now. And here's where the numbers get serious. 4 CK units linked together, a modular setup can produce 2,000 meals per day from what is essentially 4 containers parked in a field. If you're not subscribed yet, hit that button. I put a lot of work into these and it genuinely helps. Now let's talk about the people running it, because the equipment is only half the story. A standard battalion field kitchen operation feeding 500 to 700 soldiers runs on a team of 17 cooks, 17 people feeding a force of 700, 3 mobile kitchen trailers, 3 complete sanitation setups, and a logistics chain that has to function precisely or soldiers don't eat. And here's the thing people don't realize. It's not just about cooking, it's about timing. It's about temperature. It's about keeping food safe for soldiers who might not receive it for another 6 to 8 hours after it leaves the kitchen. And that's where the method really starts to get interesting. The food itself comes in 2 primary forms in the field. The first, T rations. Tray rations, large institutional cans, designed to be dropped directly into boiling water, heated through, and served straight from the tray to groups of soldiers. No transfer, no replating, maximum efficiency, minimum contamination risk. The second, MRES, meals ready to eat, individually packaged. Each one includes a flameless ration heater, a chemical heating element that activates with a small amount of water. No fire needed, no kitchen needed. A soldier can have a hot meal in the middle of nowhere with nothing but water and a pouch. There are currently over 24 MRE menu options in the US military inventory, each one engineered to deliver roughly 1,200 calories per meal. The daily field ration target sits at around 3,600 to 4,500 calories, spending on mission intensity, but here's where it gets interesting. The real challenge isn't cooking the food, it's moving it forward. The US Army feeds its soldiers through something called the Daily Logistics Package. Most people have never heard that term, but it's one of the most important operational systems in the entire military. Here's how it works. Food gets prepared and packed at the brigade support area, the BSA. This is the rear support hub, typically located 1 to 2 hours behind the forward line of troops. Once the food is cooked, and it has to be packed by a specific time, sometimes as early as 1 or 1:30 in the afternoon. It gets loaded into insulated food containers onto 2.5-ton trucks. Those trucks become part of the logistics package. Ammunition, fuel, water, food, all moving together, all timed together. The convoy moves forward to what's called the logistic release point, a designated location between the BSA and the front. There, each company's first sergeant is waiting. The first sergeant takes their portion of the package, the food, the ammunition, the fuel, and pushes it further forward to their company. From there, it goes down to the platoon level, and eventually to the individual soldier. The system works consistently, even when the timeline means soldiers don't actually eat until 8 or 9 o'clock at night. That's not a failure of the system, that's the reality of the combat logistics. And the food still has to arrive at safe temperatures. Still has to be nutritious, still has to be ready to serve. The planning required to make that happen every single day is something most people never see. Now let me tell you about the sanitation side, because this is where the secret part is actually hiding in plain sight. Running a field kitchen that serves hundreds of soldiers is an austere environment. No running water, no sewage infrastructure, potentially contaminated soil without making anyone sick. It's genuinely difficult. The U.S. Army solved it with 3 sink sanitation methods. 3 sinks, 3 different temperatures, 3 different purposes. First sink, wash. Hot water, soap. All pots, pan, trays, utensils go through here first. Second sink, rinse. Clean, hot water. Removes all soap residue. Third sink, sanitize. A chemical sanitization solution at a precisely maintained temperature. Modern field kitchen upgrades now include automatic burner controls that maintain the exact water temperature in each sink throughout the entire service cycle. Because if the sanitized water drops below threshold, that's a health risk for hundreds of soldiers who need to be mission capable tomorrow. The system is supported by a dedicated structure called the Food Sanitation Center, a complete tent-based sanitation facility with integrated sinks, racks, work tables, and water heating equipment. It sits right next to the kitchen, part of the same operational package. And here's the next part. Most people have no idea this changed. When the Army looked at scaling the system for future multi-domain operations, they didn't just add more cooks. They restructured the entire forward feeding concept. Instead of all 17 cooks operating at the BSA, the new model pushes small mess teams forward. Each rifle company gets a 2-person mess team, 1 cook, 1 experienced food service NCO E5 level, 5 or 6 years in. These forward teams operate kitchen company level field feeding enhanced equipment, compact forward deployable kitchen units that bring hot food preparations closer to where soldiers actually are. The battalion kitchen at the rear still handles bulk preparation, but the forward mess teams give company commanders something they didn't have before: direct organic food service capability at the point of need. That's a significant operational shift, and it reflects something the Army learned from multiple deployments. A soldier who gets a hot meal performs better, sleeps better, fights better. That's not sentiment. That's documented in Army field research. Now let's talk about the scale. Because when we step back from the individual battalions and look at what the Army actually manages across a full deployment, the numbers become staggering. The U.S. Army currently operates 146 dining facilities inside the continental U.S. and 54 dining facilities outside it. That's a baseline. That's before you get into forward deployed field kitchens, contingency operating bases, and combat support elements. The Army Food Innovation and Transformation Initiative, AFFS, was established specifically to modernize the entire field feeding program for future operations. Part of that push includes updating the nutrition standards and expanding the recipe inventory from approximately 1,600 recipes to a significantly larger operational menu. The nutrition standards themselves are now aligned with the American College of Sports Medicine and Harvard University School of Public Health. That's not a small thing. That's the military taking soldier nutrition as seriously as soldier equipment, because the data supports it. Undernourished soldiers make worse decisions. Undernourished soldiers recover slower. Undernourished soldiers are a readiness problem, and readiness is everything. 3 mobile kitchen trailers, 17 cooks, a logistic chain built around a daily package that moves ammunition and food forward at the same time on the same trucks. Tea rations heated in the field and served straight from the tray. Flameless ration heaters that work with nothing but water. A 3-sink sanitation system that keeps hundreds of soldiers healthy in environments with no infrastructure. Forward mess teams pushing hot food capability closer to the fight than ever before. And containerized kitchen units. 4 of them, producing 2,000 meals a day from a patch of ground the size of parking lot. This is American military logistics operating quietly, operating consistently, whether anyone outside the uniform ever notices or not. The U.S. Army didn't stumble into the system, they built it, tested it, refined it across decades of real operations. And the soldiers running it, the food service specialists who work before dawn and after dark, they are part of the combat system, as much as anyone carrying a rifle. If you got value from this, hit like and subscribe. It genuinely helps. Drop your next topic in the comment. That's exactly where these videos come from. Stay sharp.